Today, I'll be breaking down the UFC 315 main event live from Montreal, Canada, between Jack Della Madellena and champion Belal Muhammad. First, I'll go into all of the detailed statistics, our custom statistics, tell you what the numbers say. Then, I'll give you my prediction on how I think the fight's going to play out, and ultimately, my prediction on who I think is going to win. So, don't want to miss a thing. Don't go anywhere. We'll get right to it. Welcome to Fighting Stats, the ultimate channel for UFC fans who love statistics and betting breakdowns. I'm your host, Art C, and today I'll be getting you ready for the upcoming UFC fights. Here at Fighting Stats, we have exclusive UFC stats, not available anywhere else, giving us a huge edge over the sportsbooks that help us make money long term. Here at Fighting Stats, we also track how often they throw that left jab or that right hook from southpaw, how often they're moving back, or how much time is spent in side control versus full mount. We have all of that information, but that's not it. We pair that with our tape study here. We're going to go through the fights. We're going to watch for fighters' strengths, weaknesses, tendencies, and overall strategies to help you get prepared for the upcoming UFC fights. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Welcome to Fighting Stats. Welcome back to Fighting Stats. I'm your host, Art C, and today we are breaking down the UFC 315 main event between Jack Della Madellena and the champion, what's his name again? Belal Muhammad. This is live from Montreal, Canada. I'll actually be live in attendance, so I'm actually pretty excited for this fight. What I'll do here is I'll go through the numbers. All of our fighting stats are exclusive stats here. I'll tell you what the numbers say, sort of give you an idea of what's going to happen. I'll give you my prediction based on my tape study, what I think is going to happen, and then at the end, I'll give you my final prediction and who I think is going to win. So without further ado, let's get started here. What you're looking at here is the fighting stats tail of the tape. I put Belal Muhammad, the champion, in the blue corner, Jack Della Madellena in the red corner here. First, we're going to start out with our detailed striking report here. So Belal Muhammad, 15-3 in the UFC. You can see 80% of his wins coming from decision, not a big finisher there, and 67% of his losses also coming from decision. Whereas on the Jack Della Madellena side, 7-0, 57% coming from KO, and has not lost there. So first we're going to start on the offensive striking here for Belal Muhammad. He's going to be an 86% distance striker, 9% is going to be on the ground, and only 4% in the clinch. In terms of a target breakdown, he's going to go to the head, mostly a head hunter at 86% head strike accuracy or 86% head target. 9% to the body and only 5% to the legs, not a big leg kicker. In terms of striking accuracy, he has a 39% head strike accuracy, 67% body strike accuracy, and 86% leg kick accuracy. And then average strikes thrown by round, he's actually pretty consistent here, averaging about the high 40s in strikes thrown, 48, 49, 49, and then dips off in round 4 to 43 and 44. And then strikes landed is also pretty consistent in the low 20s, 20 in round 1, 21 in round 2, 22 in round 3, 21 in round 4, and 23 in round 5. Worth noting that he has 0 knockdowns in his UFC career. And then strikes landed by head and leg, you can see he averages about 15 strikes landed to the head, body about 3, and then legs, he's not a big leg kicker here. So let's go into the detailed striking numbers here. Again, I talked about, first I wanted to highlight the leg kick numbers. Belal Muhammad, mostly a boxer when he is striking, not a big leg kicker. You can see he has 1 leg kick against Gilbert Burns in 2023. He had 6 or 5 against Sean Brady when he fought in 2022. Another 1 against Stephen Thompson. So, dating back to 2021, he has about 6 leg kicks. He's not going to throw any leg kicks in this fight here. He's mainly going to be an orthodox fighter here. You can see a significant strike accuracy, hovering around 50% against Leon Edwards. I'm going to talk about that Leon Edwards quite a bit because I do see similarities in Leon Edwards and Jack Della Madellena in terms of the striking, in terms of being a striker, takedown defense, things like that. So I'm going to highlight some of the numbers that came out of that fight. Again, Belal Muhammad hovering about 50% significant strike rate, 59 in round 2 and 44 in round number 3. There was a lot of grappling, so not a lot of significant strike strikes landed. I think Belal, yeah, about 50 to 60 significant strikes landed in that fight there. Before that, he fought Gilbert Burns, did pretty well striking as well, as I recall. And then Sean Brady, actually, Sean Brady looking pretty good, and he actually knocked out Sean Brady, so that was kind of surprising. But again, worth noting that he did not get credited for a knockdown in that fight. It was more a volume, TKO, referee stoppage sort of thing. Vicente Luque, Stephen Thompson, all that stuff. So overall, he's a pretty good striker on the offensive side. Let's move over to our defensive striking. 91% of the strikes landed against are going to be defensive or at a distance, 5% in the clinch, 4% on the ground, and target breakdown against. 76% of the strikes landed against are towards the head, 11% to the body, and 13% towards the legs. So he has seen some leg kick damage. Overall head strike defense for the head, 31%, which is not bad, 68% to the body, and 88% the leg kick defense. In terms of strikes absorbed, actually pretty consistent as well. In terms of 17 strikes absorbed in round 1, 2, and 3, drops off to about 14 in round number 4 and 15 in round number 5. He has been knocked down quite a bit in the UFC, 3 of them coming in round number 1, 1 of them coming in round number 2, and 2 in round number 3 for 6 knockdowns against in total. And then again, you can see the significant strikes there. Moving on to the dates there, or sorry, the numbers there. Again, he's fought a couple of leg kickers. Gilbert Burns attempted leg kicks early there. Sean Brady, Vicente Luque had a couple as well. Just fix this, sorry. Leon Edwards, I'm just trying to see the last time he was knocked down. So actually, yeah, he had 2 knockdowns against Jeff Neal back in 2019. That was the last time he got knocked down. And then a couple of knockdowns early in his career. Alan Jouban, I think he got knocked down and finished in his UFC debut there. But that was back in 2016. He's definitely changed since then. So. All right, moving on to the Jack Della Madellena side in terms of offensive striking. 80% of his strikes going to be landed at a distance, 10% in the clinch, and 10% on the ground. In terms of his target breakdown, he actually goes to the head at 74%. He likes to work the body at 20% and only 6% to the legs. In terms of striking accuracy, pretty good striking accuracy, 48% head strike accuracy. 72% body strike accuracy and 83% leg kick accuracy. In terms of his output, it does increase as the rounds go on. So 26 strikes landed in round number 1, 27 in round number 2, 34 strikes in round number 3. Worth noting, though, he has not gone 5 rounds, so worth something to keep an eye on, especially against somebody like Belal Muhammad, who has somewhat cardio for days. But in terms of his knockdowns, look at this. He has 5 knockdowns in the first round. He does have 1 knockdown in the third round. Not a ton of fights, but he has 6 knockdowns in total in his UFC career. Knocked down Gilbert Burns there in round number 3. And then before that, Randy Brown he knocked down. Danny Roberts knocked down twice. Rami Meev knocked down. And Pete Rodriguez knocked down. So a lot of knockdowns for Jack Della Madellena. Actually pretty impressive with his striking. In terms of striking defense, 93% of the strikes landed against him have been at a distance, 7% in the clinch, and 0% on the ground, so he has not eaten any ground strikes. In terms of target breakdown against, 78% head strike or head target against, 13 towards the body, 9% towards the leg. And look at this, his head strike defense numbers: 24% head strike defense, 57% body strike defense, and 84% leg kick defense. So that's a big difference in terms of head strike accuracy, was close to 50%, and head strike defense of 24%. So definitely hits and doesn't get hit. In terms of average strikes absorbed per round, averages 16 strikes absorbed in round number 1, 25 in round number 2, and drops off to 15 in round number 3. Has not been knocked down in the UFC yet. Seems to have a decent chin on him as well. All right, so if we're talking about remember the name, we're going to have to talk about the grappling. So let's move over to our detailed grappling report here. Pull that up here. So we're starting again with the Belal Muhammad here. You can see on average he attempts 1.3 takedowns attempted in round number 1, 2.2 in round number 2, 2.3 in round number 4, drops off to 1 in round number 4, and 2.3 in round number 5. So on average, he's landing about 0.4 in round number 1, 0.8 in round number 2, 1 takedown in round 3, 0.7 in round 4, and 0.7 in round number 5. So definitely a big grappler there. And then you can see his control numbers there, pretty high as well. Control time by round, decently good there as well. Average control seconds. So look at these takedown numbers here. We'll just go over that because I do think that's a big key to his game plan here. Overall in the UFC, he has attempted 110 takedowns attempted. 43 of them have been successful. So going back to that Leon Edwards fight there, right? So he goes 2 for 2 in round number 1, 4 for 5 in round number 2, 1 for 1 in round number 3, 1 for 2 in round number 4, and 1 for 3 in round number 5. So in total, about 9 takedowns landed on Leon Edwards. Worth noting here, look at the ground strikes there. He only landed 6 ground strikes. So all of those takedowns, what do we say? 9 takedowns, only 6 ground strikes. So not a big guy in terms of ground strikes. When he does get you down, he's more laying on you, controlling you. You can see the seconds of control. So in round number 1, he got 105 seconds of control. Remember, each round has 300 seconds. So about a third of the round of control for Belal. In round number 2, about 205. Round number 3 was his worst round, only 15 seconds. Round number 4 and 5 were about 200 seconds each. Going back before that, Gilbert Burns and Sean Brady are decent grapplers, so he didn't actually bring out some of the wrestling in those fights. But when he does fight a striker, Vicente Luque, he took down about 5 times once per round, about 100 seconds of control each round there. Same thing with a striker like Stephen Thompson, got him down about 7 times in that, good almost 180 seconds of control, 251. So he definitely controlled and dominated Stephen Thompson there. Somebody like Damian Edwards, you're not going to want to take down. So again, worth noting the game plan there against decent grapplers. He's not going to look for a takedown, but against strikers, he will look for that. So defensive grappling for Belal Muhammad. I'm going to skim over this because I really don't think Jack Della Madellena is going to look for grappling. And overall, Belal Muhammad has shown some really good takedown defense. He's seen 47 takedown attempts against. He's only allowed 5 of them. And we saw how good Sean Brady looked. He ran through Leon Edwards. Sean Brady went 0 for 5 in takedowns against Belal. So again, I don't see Jack looking for a takedown. And the reason why here, look at this. Overall in his UFC career, he's only attempted 3 takedowns, landed 1 of them. That was against round 3 in Basel Hafez. I think Hafez was gassed at that point and gave up a takedown. So he's not going to look for a takedown. He's going to want to keep this fight standing. Belal's the one that's going to want to get this fight down to the ground. So the important thing that we really want to talk about this fight is the defensive grappling from Jack Della Madellena. So I'll spend a little bit of time here. So in that last fight against Gilbert Burns, he did give up 7 takedowns, okay? 7 takedowns on 11 attempts for Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns, not a huge wrestler. He's more of a BJJ specialist, right? But he did get 75 seconds of control round number 1, 99 seconds of control round number 2, and 133 seconds of control in round number 3. Before that, Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland is not going to shoot, so he's good with that. Basel Hafez, that one was weird because, again, Basel Hafez, I think he was coming up in weight. I think it was short notice for Basel Hafez, and he landed 3 of 5 takedowns in round number 1, 199 seconds of control. I thought that Basel Hafez had won that round, but he did start it to slow down into the later rounds. So Hafez goes 0 for 6 in round number 2 and 0 for 9 in takedowns in round number 3 because he definitely started to slow down. So any kind of takedown defense numbers that you're seeing for Jack, just keep that in mind. Basel Hafez on short notice went 0 for 15, so that's going to definitely skew some of the takedown numbers. Against Ramazan Aziz, he went 1 for 2, gave up 25 seconds of control. So that is a big question here, whether or not Jack can get back to his feet, whether or not he's going to give up these takedowns or the control. And I'll get into that into the detailed breakdown, but just wanted to highlight some of these numbers there. Actually, let's go to the chart. On average, he's seen 1.6 takedowns attempted in round number 1. He's allowed an average of 1 takedown in round 1, 0.7 takedowns in round 2, and 0.7 takedowns in round number 3. All right, so here's where it gets interesting. Let's move over to our fighting stats time breakdown here. So first we're starting with Belal Muhammad. You can see 64% of the type that we taped was spent standing. 25% of that was spent onto the ground. When he is on ground on top, 42% of the time was spent in back mount. I believe most of that coming from Leon Edwards. 13% of that was in side control. 24% of the time he's in half guard, and 21% he's in full guard. I didn't see much guard passing from Belal. He likes to just hang out Again, he's more of a wrestler than a BJJ guy, but like keep that in mind. Again, I'll touch on that in the breakdown. Ground bottom, I'm not going to spend too much time on, and then we're going to go over to the Jack side. 66% of the time that we taped for Jack was spent standing. 22% of that was on the ground. Again, when he's on the ground, in terms of positional wise, 31% of the time he was spent in back mount. On defense, 28% was in side control, and 34% was in half guard there. So, and again, he's fought some high-level grapplers, Gilbert Burns, Basil Hafez. All right, let's move over to our fighting stats striking tendencies matchup. This one is very important as well. We have Belal Muhammad here on the blue, Jack in the red. So Belal Muhammad, in terms of strikes, because he has that wrestling, he does let his hands go. Again, we talked about he's not a big leg kicker, but he does throw strikes and he throws combos. So he has a 68% single strike rate. So a decent number of combos or multiple shots for Belal. 18% kick rate. Doesn't really kick too high, but when he does, he throws that high kick. I think it's really just to get the guard up sort of thing, and a 10% 1-2 rate. So overall, his most frequent strikes are he goes to the jab, the single jab at 21%. He goes to the single cross at 15%, and the left hook at 11%. So almost 50% of the strikes are either the 1, 2, or the 3. And then he goes to right high kick 11% of the time and a 1-2 at 10% of the time. Moving over to the Jack side here, he has also a single strike rate about 66% of the time. He does a really good job of mixing in the combos. He likes to mix up head and body, so you'll see him go head, body, body, head sort of thing. Multiple strike combo. I really like his boxing there. Throws the cross at 21%. Kicks he does have at 14% there. So so for Jack, 21% of the time is going to be that single cross, the right cross. 21% of the time is going to be the jab, and 7% is that rear low kick. 6% is the left hook. He does switch, I believe, from southpaw to orthodox. He does a lot of stand switches, and he'll find his opening there. So that's in terms of what the strikes say, in terms of the numbers say. On paper, it looks like Jack's going to have an edge in the striking department. Again, Belal's going to have to get the wrestling going. So that ties me into our fight prediction here. So um, here's how I think the fight's going to go, right? So it's going to be Belal Muhammad. He's mostly going to be known for his wrestling, but he can mix in the striking as well. Whereas Jack Della Madellena, he's definitely going to be a striker. Doesn't want to go to the ground. We talked about not going to the ground at all. So Jack's going to want to keep the fight on the feet. I think it's going to be Belal Muhammad pressuring because he's not really afraid of any kind of takedown attempts. So he's going to be the one pressuring forward like he did against Leon Edwards. I think it's going to be Jack Della Madellena is going to be on the outside, circling around. He doesn't want to get pushed up on the fence. I think he wants to keep space so he can see the strikes coming in. And then as Belal Muhammad comes in, Jack's going to throw his punches. I think he's going to work the body a lot. He'll try to defend the takedowns and things like that. Belal, he does have this tendency where he comes in, he sort of plays with your hands a little bit. He's trying to grab the wrist, so he is open and he does square up. Leon Edwards landed a couple of big shots there with that left hand on Belal Muhammad, but again, Belal seems to have a chin, ate those shots pretty well in that fight. So again, it's going to be Belal Muhammad on the front foot pressuring him. We haven't seen Jack Della Madellena go past round number 3 to round number 4 and 5. So that's going to be a question. We don't really have any questions in terms of the cardio of Belal. But again, Belal's going to enter the pocket. He's going to throw hands. Jack Della Madellena is going to have the better hands. He's going to have the better counters. He's going to rip the body, and he's going to throw more power. So Jack's going to have the power upside, the combo, the more frequent, the damage upside, and Belal's going to have cardio upside and wrestling upside. So in the end, I think it's going to be Belal Muhammad. He's going to have to look for that wrestling like he did against Leon Edwards. What he tends to do is he tries to shoot or at least push you up against the fence, and then up against the fence he has a couple of nice takedowns, or he'll try to duck under, grab the back. He did that against Leon Edwards a couple of times where he ducked under, grabbed the back, and then put in the body triangles, things like that. But the biggest difference for me in that fight, so if you go back and watch the Belal and Leon, I keep on going back to that fight because I think that at this stage in Leon Edwards' career, and with Jack Della Madellena getting better, I think that I know historically Leon Edwards, his takedown defense has been really good, but again, he got taken down multiple times against Belal. And the biggest thing for me is that Leon Edwards was able to get back up, and instead of backing off and getting back into space, and even DC in the commentary comments on it to say this is where Leon Edwards needs to separate, get back to space. All of a sudden he's free, and then he drops down for a double leg, and he's trying to get a takedown on Belal Muhammad. We saw how good Belal Muhammad's takedown defense was. So Leon Edwards is wasting all this energy. He's trying to go down to the legs, trying to get this takedown on Belal, and when he doesn't get it, he's like losing minutes because he's attempting these takedowns. He should have stepped off and got back to space, and that's what I think the biggest difference was the Sean Brady fight is that he wasn't able to get back up. Sean Brady was able to control Leon Edwards and eventually finish him, but Leon Edwards has this thing where he has to like I don't know if it's a macho thing. I'm better than you. He tries to get takedowns on Colby Covington. He tried to get takedowns on Kamaru Usman. He tried to get takedowns on Belal Muhammad. So he's mainly a striker, but somehow, for some reason, he's re-engaging in the grappling. So he gets back up to his feet, he separates, he should be able to get back to space, and then he's going back in for the takedown, giving Belal Muhammad basically the fight that he wants, right? We know that the pace that Belal Muhammad can put, we know the takedown defense for Belal. So Edwards is really just giving away minutes and giving away the fight, right? So the reason I bring this up is that I think that Jack Della Madellena has decent takedown defense. I know he's been taken down a couple of times, but he does a really good job of actually scrambling, getting back up to his feet, getting separating. Like, you're not. I think we said 0% or 0 strikes landed. You really have to hold on to Jack, otherwise he's going to get back up to his feet. If you try to like strike with him on the ground, he's going to use that space, pummel or dig an underhook, get back up. Now the difference between Jack Della Madellena and Leon Edwards is Jack Della Madellena is not going to turn around and shoot a double leg on Belal. He's going to go back to space, and he's going to go back to his boxing combinations, ripping the body. So that's where the biggest difference in this fight is. So I do think that Belal Muhammad is going to get takedowns. He's going to be in your face. He's going to grapple a lot. That's the calling card of Belal Muhammad. He's not going to come out here and outstrike Jack Della Madellena. That is not going to happen. He is going to attempt takedowns, and he's going to get those takedowns. But I think Jack Della Madellena can get back up to his feet, and I think when it does strike or when there is striking exchanges, we saw it briefly with Leon Edwards. I thought that Leon Edwards won the striking exchanges against Belal. Belal, again, he's more hand punching, more volume. He's in your face, but he has zero power in his punches, right? Whereas Jack Della Madellena is going to land all of the bigger power punches. He's going to rip the body a lot. He's going to mix in the different strikes. He's going to switch stances. He's not going to back himself onto the fence like Leon Edwards is. He's going to circle around and keep space. So that's where I see Jack Della Madellena having the most success is he's going to work the pocket. He's going to work in his boxing. He's going to land damage. He's going to get taken down, but then eventually he will find his way back up to his feet. This is the most important fight, and this is how the fight's going to play out. It really depends on the judges and what the judges favor. Okay, so this fight's going to be minutes versus moments. Okay, so Belal's going to be the major minute winner for sure. He's going to have control. So how are you going to score a round where Belal eats a couple of shots, he gets in for a takedown, grabs the takedown, lands it, and we saw he spends most of his time in full guard or half guard, doesn't really pass guard. He doesn't really throw any ground strikes. We talked about only landing 6 ground strikes against Leon Edwards, so he's not going to do any damage on the ground. So when Jack Della Madellena gets back up and then he has a minute to strike, he's going to look good in that last minute and he's going to do damage in that last minute. So how are you scoring those rounds? Are you going to give credit to 3.5 minutes of control time for Belal, or are you going to give it to the Jack for the damage, right? So this fight can be playing out, it can be, I think we're going to get to a point, in rounds 3, 4, and 5 where we really don't know how the judges are scoring this fight. It might be a toss-up at the end because it's going to be damage versus control, moments versus minutes. So Jack's going to have all of the moments. He's going to have all of the finishing upside as well. For Belal Muhammad to find a finish, it's going to have to be some sort of submission, but Belal Muhammad really doesn't have any submissions. You can see here 7% of his wins coming from submission. So he's more of a wrestler. Leon Tapia, he's not really a BJJ guy. So, and on the feet, he doesn't really have power in the hands either. So Belal Muhammad is almost decision or bust. Whereas Jack Della Madellena, he does have some upside. I don't think it's going to be submission, but it's going to be KO. It's going to be working the bodies, working some big shots, things like that. But Jack Della Madellena also has decision upside because he can steal some rounds with some big shots, right? So it will be an interesting fight. My official prediction is going to be Belal Muhammad to win by decision. I think that's easy, that's straightforward, but I do think that Jack Della Madellena can put up a fight. It really depends on how the judges score it. I'm trying to think about hometown again. This is going to be in Montreal. I'll be there live. I'll be cheering for Jack Della Madellena because of the big underdog and whatnot. I'd like to just see a changing of the guard sort of thing. So I'm not really sure where the crowd's going to be, what side of of the cheering is going to be on him, right? I would expect that they're going to cheer for the more exciting fighter in Jack Della Madellena, who wants to see Belal land takedowns and cheer for takedowns and top control. So I think that the crowd's going to be more pop on the Jack side. He's not really a hometown fighter, neither is Belal, but it will be interesting to see where that dynamic plays out, but I do think that Jack Della Madellena has some sneaky upside to find some different ways to win. I'll be looking at props in this one. I think that Belal can win a decision. I think that's easy, but in terms of the betting odds, I do see that Jack Della Madellena is up to plus 210, 220 in some places. So I do think that a lot of the public's going to be on the Belal side. They're going to see that Jack struggled against Gilbert Burns with the takedowns. They're going to see Belal, taking down Leon Edwards, and they're going to think, one in the same sort of thing. A lot of recency bias into that. So if you like the Jack Della Madellena side, I do think that you can wait and get a better price until closer to fight time. And I think if you like the Belal Muhammad side, you probably should go get that money now, because I do think that money will come in on Belal Muhammad during fight week. But I do think that it could be pretty close. So if I do place any bets, though, I'll put them over to our patreon.com/FightingStats. I'll post everything there. We are on an absolute heater, an absolute tear starting back in 2023, honestly. 2023 was great. 2024, I made over 100 units. In 2025, I already beaten what we did in 2024. So go check that out, patreon.com/FightingStats. You can join us for free. I post some free bets there. But otherwise than that, I do think that covers it. If you have any questions, or if you like this type of breakdown, let me know. I do tend to go into a lot of details, but that's just how my brain operates when we look at some of the fighting stats there. So as always, my name is Artsy, and this is Fighting Stats. Hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks for watching. Well, that is it for today. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Artsy. If you like this type of content, make sure you smash that like button, hit the subscribe. You'll get notified anytime we put out new content. In 2024, we are up over 118 units. That's $58,000 at $500 units. We are using our exclusive UFC stats, not available anywhere else. I'm telling you, it gives us a huge edge over our competition, helps us make money long term. So come join us today, patreon.com/FightingStats. That's where we put all of our bets, our best bets, our shoot for the moon parlays. You can visit us also on our website, FightingStats.com, for all of our stats there. We have a lot of new tools coming out. You won't want to miss it. Thanks for watching.